This is really exciting for me because you know, I'm here talking about failure with the most successful people around, so that's really good.
French people love failure. They love that. Like, we hate success.
More
it's
so
just
than
like
the rest of us.
more you have success, more you're just like almost disgusting for people.
I think in this community actually is one of the rare places in America where it's similar to that. Within technology, it's like if you haven't tried to start a number of startups before your like big one hits, it's like strange. You know, it's like you have to keep trying and failing, you know, and, you know, exploring every possible iteration, you know, and then you kind of have that big success.
I don't know if I can speak for French cinema, but in Hollywood, I feel there's a code everyone is going out there trying to crack. But the people who made the code, they themselves don't know what the code is, you know, how it's meant to be cracked.
When you're finishing a work, like as a director, I'm never happy. I'm just always so not happy. I feel like I failed every time. And then I'm just like, there is the perception of the people, and you just need to be so focused on what you feel instead of being like obsessed with how people are looking at you.
But if you feel like you fail every time, then what makes it a success? If it's not the people celebrating it.
No, I feel like the success for me just like to trying to get better. Like it's challenged me to feel like
growing through it?
Yeah, like I feel like the day I will be like, I'm so happy with that, I would be like devastated after, saying like, what can I do now? Because it's good, and then what can I do? Every time I feel like it's not good, I just want to do something else.
It reminds me of what Javier Bardem said after he won the Oscar. He goes, oh, so I won an Oscar. What next? You know, it's like, what do I do now? You know, so it's like you don't want to be too complacent in success. It's interesting because I really don't know if I'm failing or succeeding when I'm doing something, because I'm simply doing it. You know, so it's very hard to predict what it is I'm walking towards. I'm obviously walking towards the dream of success, but I really don't know what's going to happen. There's actually, Guillermo del Toro did this amazing podcast where he said, people prepare you for failure, but no one prepares you for success or how to deal with it. And that is sometimes a tougher part, because what do you do with all this noise?
You talk a lot about fear as a motivator.
Fear is a tool. For me, fear is a tool that I use. I mean, I think we all use it. Fear of failure. I mean, fear of acceptance. I mean, you just go down the list. I mean, you know, they say people fear public speaking more than death, because we know nothing of death, but we know of not being accepted. So if you spoke and you weren't accepted into the community, that means you wouldn't survive. So we're really concerned about being accepted. I think my relationship with fear started at such a young age that I developed a relationship. I dated fear. Fear was my girlfriend, and eventually used it as a tool. Fear can make you fast and smart, you know, quickly.
It's an incredible informant. And to pretend that it doesn't exist, I think is foolhardy, and also you're shutting out something in your toolkit. It's exactly what you said. It's a tool. It's like for me, it's a very visual image of like it's just in, you know, it doesn't run around like a rampant monster kind of pulling my hair. It tries to sometimes, but it's more of like it's my shadow. It's there. It walks with me, and it's okay, because I'm not wishing it weren't there, I guess is my point. I'm not trying to wish for something that wasn't. I understand that it's natural, and it may even be beneficial as a flesh and bone. I had to put myself out there and kind of make a fool of myself in order to, you have to fail again, fail better, and get comfortable with that feeling of discomfort. That's the quality that I think, certainly as athletes, it's such a useful skill set in anything else you do, is that it allows you to pivot. It allows you to be nimble.
First of all, I was thinking, the three of us talking together, thinking, well, what is the link? But the link is the desire to break boundaries, to go from the ordinary. Because, again, you look up the word transcendence, it means to go beyond limitations. And so we go beyond limitations. We want to jump higher, run faster, love more, enjoy more, earn more. We have that desire for more. And that can be accomplished outside. But there are limitations. Sometimes the extraordinary becomes ordinary really relatively quickly. You've done that and I've done it, and now what? Now I have to find something else. Well, when I'm 60 years old and I can't do some of these things, then where do I find the extraordinary? And I think the reason why meditation has actually always been part and parcel with excellence, whether physical excellence or mental excellence, is because it gives that transcendence inside. It allows us to go beyond the frantic, nervous, choppy, agitated thinking mind, which can be very binding at times, and allows us to access that more unboundedness, which lies theoretically within everyone.
Does everyone know where the word dream comes from? Because it comes from the German Traumen, which means sort of led to trauma. And then it also seems to come from, it's a bit complicated, it seems to also come from Old English drom, as in to drum. But what about this trauma aspect? Is there anything about the kind of fertile territory around a scar, the scar tissue that allows things to grow from it?
Good and bad. So trauma being bad, we'll say. But good things happen in your life that are also traumatic to some degree, like an impact, right? They also manifest your dreams, steer your dreams, you know.
You know, sometimes things just feel like they're gifted to you, and in that moment, you just feel there's a feeling, and it's a tangible excitement and something in your belly that says this is what you're going to be doing.
But you know, when you start a project, you know, if you say, shit, this is 5 years of my life, you're never going to get there. It'll end up being whatever it is. So I try not to envisage the end so much and just try and say, right, every day is the beginning of it. Every day is a new discovery of it, because that's the only way you can get through it. If you start looking for the end, you sink.
The original first theatre was for ritual, wasn't it? Ritual was the beginning of theatre. And certainly, I can't speak to it because I've never stood on a stage and performed, really. But that feeling I see in the performers I work with, and what they become when they have to deflect and reflect that much energy. And you can tell us about that, because what it must feel like. I've asked some musicians about it, and one answer I got from a performer was, I am a different person. And I've noticed that certainly Adele puts on a mask in the way that the Greeks did.
I think almost everything, though, that we end up doing, whether we're writers, designers, bloggers, you know, the best work comes out of you sacrificing something, doesn't it? Whether you're an actor or not. Almost everything that is good has had to sacrifice something along the way.
So how to make architecture as a second nature is my key.
You know, I think what drives me is this artistic component. You know, when you look at the evolution of this place, San Francisco and the Bay Area, you know, it's really because of the artistry of wanting to do something new. This is something that Steve Jobs said, right? There's all kinds of ways to look at the world in technical terms, in financial terms, but really the people that are building something, whether it's an architect, an artist, or a designer, you know, we want to build things that are artistic and hence have a similar value as beautiful nature. It's no surprise that the Bay Lights and the Bay Bridge happened here.
No, it was uniquely possible in San Francisco and the Bay Area to do a project like this. So here, people were very open to the idea, and no one said no. Everyone was up for it. Everyone's like, yes. The contractors were, yes, we'll go up in the middle of the night from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. and hang lights on the bridge, hanging in a basket 500 feet over the water. So crazy, unbelievable things that everyone did just because they got inspired. And you can still find that here.
I think people will get a lot of inspiration from nature. The modern city focus too much on the objects, the buildings, which representing the technology, power, capitalism. I think those things are from modern civilization. I think if we're moving to the future, I think will be about nature civilization.
Thank you so much for your insights, and we hope these conversations will continue in the space.